Hi, everybody. Well, good evening. This is obviously my first meeting leading the discussion. Mary, of course, is here, but we are going to be starting the transition. So thank you all for your patience and welcoming me to your group. The first item on the agenda for tonight is the approval of the minutes for the March 7th meeting. Super? Okay. Do you have a second?
Second.
Everyone in favor?
You gotta pull it out of this
Thank
group.
you.
They make you work for it.
Well, thank you. Okay, agenda item 2A is just an update on the Henry Park basketball court lighting project. We are happy to report that the project is officially complete. The signs, the control signs, I should say, have been installed and are officially throughout the park. The lights will be activated between the hours of 5 p.m. and 11 p.m. So they will shut off at 11 o'clock on the dot. So if somebody were to activate them, no matter how long before the 11 o'clock slot, they will go off. So we haven't had, I don't believe, any negative feedback so far. So that is an update on that project. We do have an additional item, item B, proposed additions to the disc golf course at Stephen Gator Park. Mr. Sean Johnson actually is here. Thank you for joining us. He attended the mayor and council meeting, the regular session, this past Monday, the 24th. At the time, it was the 6-month review. So what you will see on page 6 of the meeting packet are just some additions that are being proposed to the course at the park. I don't know if any of you had a chance to review it, but if you do have any questions, Mr. Johnson would be here to answer them.
Well, I know it's an extremely popular amenity. I've seen groups of people always fishing their disc out of the creek. And, yeah, I mean, enjoying the hazards, the complexity of the course. But no, a lot of people really enjoy it, and I appreciate that more than anything else, that people are in the park using it. And I think these are, you know, I'm glad that you're moving forward with making it look more permanent.
That's appreciated. And I think in my group, Eastbound Disc Golf, our experience is the same. That's why we're doing it every time, to kind of try and push, you know. Just try to get disc golf in front of people and get them used to the idea. If they like it, they like it. If they don't, they don't.
A lot of people seem to like it.
I've noticed the same thing there. I don't go by there as much as I'd like to, but every time I'm there, I see 2 or 3 other groups, and I love seeing the people I don't know. So.
All kinds of people. Anybody who's interested. I mean, young, older, people with dogs, people, you know. I haven't seen anybody with a cat yet, so I can't say that they're cat people there. But
We'll work on it.
They'd just like to add some more signage, give more direction with the signage that they're proposing, and the mayor is asked to investigate if there's a grant possibility, so that's where we're at, kind of waiting on, see if there's could be some grants to help her with funding.
who's looking for those grants?
So Ivy was probably.
Oh, Ivy is.
If I may, at this point, because of the way that most of the park grants that the town goes for are timed, it would probably be better actually if Eastbound Disc Golf went maybe to the Community Foundation or a group like that, because there are grant programs that are available to you as an organization that are not available to the town. So that might be the better way to go.
Yeah. We're exploring those avenues now, and as well as local clubs that are used to having that allocation to do so.
Yeah, it's not a huge lift, the amount of funding that's needed, so I think that it's doable.
Yeah.
And I do believe the mayor proposed a ballpark figure of roughly $7,000 during the mayor and council meeting. So I think amount-wise, that is what we're now. Yeah, I think that's what he had suggested we aim for with the grant proposal.
And that's sort of like the top shelf, honestly. That's that's not really skimming out. So it's pretty cost effective.
So I think that Community Foundation, and I don't know if Humphreys would be a grant that you could look at.
They do so much for
Because
Berlin.
They do. They, the administrators are Paul Casson, and if you call there, they'll email you the application, which is pretty straightforward.
You said Paul?
Paul
FAW,
Okay.
Casson.
It's an accounting firm.
I see.
they're the people who administer the, and it's the
But they-
Humphreys.
This being right in Berlin and right in Decatur Park, it might be successful.
They're
I don't know if
always,
there's any
Take it easy, I guess.
limitations, I don't know, but.
well, mostly if it's a project in Berlin, and this is something that's, you know, for the public.
Benefit the community.
You know, they support the museum, and, you know, they've supported other groups.
Wide
and
variety.
So many groups in town, so it's focus on Berlin is what the Humphreys Foundation does. And you will have a very good chance, if not getting all of it, getting a good portion of it. And then, you know, there's a lot of people who, you know, call around, ask for help. I hope that they're answering yes.
Yeah, we're making progress, so hopefully next time we see each other, it'll be a different conversation.
That would be terrific.
Yeah. And I think it's important to add too that the feedback that you had mentioned during the council meeting that had been received anyway to this point on the course is pretty good. I think the only I'm not even gonna say complaint, but the only negative feedback was the lack of signage. So hopefully with these additions, it'll just be a.
It's fair, I mean, if you park there and you haven't been there before, unless you ask someone or see people playing or just kind of wander around for a while, it takes a little bit to find that first marker. And from there, it gets a little better, but still could be better.
I know I'm confused when I walk.
Is it online? Can you get you know, do you have like where you can get it online if you,
When you do find that sign, there's a QR code there that gives you an overhead view.
Oh, okay.
So it helps you once you're there.
that might be,
So that's why we added a kiosk in our,
okay.
and I don't know if this is the audience, but we talked about putting it across the street potentially. So that's like the disc golf parking. And,
Oh, the kiosk would be over on the other
So
side.
you park
That's
there and see
I
information.
think that makes more sense than trying to crowd more stuff into the, you know, where all the kids are gonna be running and all of that, and then really stand out, you know, in that area.
You know, at some point, maybe we can consider doing little arrow signage at the parking lot, you know, one that points to the pavilion and, you know, nature trail, disc
Yeah,
golf
yeah.
Disc
course,
golf,
all the
yeah.
things.
something,
Yeah.
yeah, disc
Yeah.
golf parking, something, yeah.
Yeah, that would, well, I think those are great ideas.
All right, awesome. Anything you would like to add?
No, I think we covered it. I'm glad everybody seems to, you know, be familiar with it and be on board.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions before we move on? Okay. Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
At this time, the only upcoming event that we have on the schedule is the Spring Walk, which is going to be this Saturday, May 6th. To just provide a little bit of information on it, we have started an Eventbrite registration page, which has been promoted on our social media. There have been about a handful of people that have pre-registered to this point. Hopefully we'll get a little bit more as we get closer to the date, but that site is up and running. At this time, we do have an instructor that will be there around 8:30 to lead a pre-warm-up stretch, if you will, for participants. So she will be there beginning at 8:30, and we will also have representatives from Atlantic General on site, as well as the health department. Atlantic General will be doing some blood pressure checks, providing healthy living resources, and the health department will be doing about the same, with providing some resources. So we have two vendors, if you will, that will be there. And throughout the walk, as in years past, we will also have be promoting a trivia game, a Berlin trivia game. So at check-in, they'll get a card to, I suppose, list their answers as they come across the trivia questions throughout the walk. And the winner of the raffle, or the winner of the trivia, will get a raffle basket, a Town of Berlin raffle basket. They'll be notified on Monday, of course. But the walk will begin promptly at 9 o'clock, and I do believe we have 1, 2, 3 mile route options that they can participate in and take. So depending on which route you take, of course, the ending time of the walk will vary, but that's really kind of what we have in place right now for the walk. Anybody have any questions or things to add?
What time should we be there and what do you need us to do?
I think I'll be there around 8 o'clock. If anybody wants to help with the check-in, probably around 8:15, just so we're all in place. We'll have everything ready to go, signage-wise the night before. So really just helping check in if anybody's available.
So we don't need to sweep off one of our jobs was sweeping off.
I finally have like a blower that's gas. I can.
It can't hurt, certainly can't hurt.
Okay.
Sure,
I mean,
I think in the fall is when it's really necessary.
Yeah, it's just, we'll just take a walk around
Yeah.
the path beforehand to make sure it's clear. That's, it's not, I mean.
Well, with all the wind we've had, there's certainly a possibility of a lot of
Limbs.
twigs and stuff,
Yeah, a
yeah.
lot of, so it's okay, well, then I'll walk around on my way over and I'll get that loop.
Just so you know, that's the jazz and blues in the town, so
yes.
Yeah.
unfortunately I won't be there because I'll be in my own,
Yes.
yes, that's the word.
And I do believe that there is a bike event as well. Patty Stevens had mentioned during that mayor and council meeting that there's, it's not the community bike ride, but there is a bike event.
Is that, it's not Seagull coming through here from something?
That's in the fall, isn't
That's in the
it?
fall, I think.
Yeah.
Seagull.
Yeah, no, 'cause Seagull has been like the same day as Oktoberfest in the
Yeah.
past, so yeah, that's
Yeah, I think
definitely
it
in
was
the fall.
same as the car show in the fall.
Yes,
Yeah.
That's a big combo.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But she had mentioned that she was working in partnership with the event, so she was encouraging those that participate in the bike ride to attend the Jazz and Blues Fest. So I'm not sure what that will do for either the turnout or the participants in terms of parking and that
Yeah, I'm
kind of
not sure
thing,
about
but-
that either.
We never know who, coming to the walk, it's just, you know, if they have other events to do, which it's a popular weekend in the spring, and if the weather's good, there's sporting events.
Right.
But for those of us who enjoy a little walk, it's a good thing to have. And, you know, this is really, the health department is the one who really promotes it to all of their, and they have a lot of participants in the Just Walk program, so, and,
Yeah.
you know, so that's, either that, we'll be there for them.
It's supposed to be a nice day, so
Yeah.
it'll be a good turnout.
I told Patricia, I told him earlier before you two got here, I won't be there, I'm getting the first cataract. Thursday.
Fingers crossed. Good
Yeah,
luck.
unfortunately, I won't be able to be there either, so.
Dropping like
Looks like
It's up to you two.
Okay, well,
Okay, Patricia, I got the blower, you've got.
I'll pick up the sticks and kick off the, you know, the extreme pine needles. Did you see the fringe trees are blooming over there? It thrills me when we do that. I might do a little divining instead of walking, but we'll see.
So I suppose the last thing on the agenda is, which is the bulk of your meeting packet, is a playground, or the most recent playground inspection report for Henry Park and Stephen Decatur Park. And I do believe Public Works Director Jimmy Charles will be able to run point on this a little bit better than I.
So the inspection was on April 20th, 2023. Henry Park had 32 violations, which were issues.
Yeah, violations is a strong term.
Yeah.
There are 23 issues, 32 issues. And they could be, I was just paging through, an extra thread showing on a boat, missing paint. Maybe we had some signage areas, distance between the equipment, which was when we put the equipment in, it was 6 foot, now it's like an 8 foot standard. Some of the other things, a loose screw, some loose bolts underneath the roof. Stuff that, you know, over the winter could have worked its way loose and we're going through now and
So basically, a lot of tightening, and then do you have to cap the bolt, or do you cut the bolt off? These ones that are entanglement issues, I see that seems to be a big, a big issue
I
that
think
they
some of them will
focus
just
on.
have to adjust the bolt and see where it leaves us, whether it's hardware on the hood of the sides create an entanglement hazard. But it's at the very peak, yeah.
It's, yes, it's
So-
it's odd, these pieces of equipment were created, you know, by these different groups, and they were perfectly fine. Of course, now the standards have changed, so, it's troubling that we have to go back and look at them,
But they do sit out, they're out in winter, they're out in all types of weather, 4 seasons, we have salt air here that plays havoc on this equipment. But we'll get out here in the next couple weeks. We're doing a lot of planning around town and in the parks right now, but once we get there, we'll go back and start addressing a lot of these issues and getting them up to date. That was Henry Park, had 32 issues.
I have a question.
Okay?
When you're looking through, it's, I think, 1 to 4, 1 to 5, and 1 is the one that is the most concerned, right?
That's my
Right.
understanding.
Okay, and so some of them where it says like the gap between the crawl, there's a 1 on red and yellow. Gap between the crawl tube and the upright creates a head entrapment. Can we do something about that, or is that something that it's always has passed, so now
Yeah.
it's a change in rules, or I just wonder.
Right.
I
It's
went
a
through
combination
multiple
of
ones.
things, like
Yeah.
anything else, as it gets used, you know, parts wear and settle and shift, and also that the standards may be different now than they were when the equipment was initially
There's a-
installed.
Perhaps
If
you
you
could
look-
screw it together tighter.
If
with-
you look into Henry Park,
Okay.
like page 4, the head entrapment
That's
on
what
top of
I-
that
Yeah.
yellow and red unit, the gap between the crawl space and the upright creates a head entrapment. Well, if you look at the picture, it looks like it's only 3 inches wide. So, I understand there could be a head
Okay,
entrapment,
got it.
Yeah.
but I'm not sure it's,
But we
It's
will
something we
look
can
at
take
it,
and
we will
address.
look at it and see what we can do
Right,
to address it.
yep.
that's helpful.
And we'll go through a lot of these, priority 2, bolts of the stair, you know, we just need to go back through and,
Yeah.
How many,
We do this every year.
Right, exactly.
Exactly.
well, this is a
how many
very
did Stephen
good,
Decatur Park have? How many,
that one had 49 violations, and it had 50.
issues.
Issues.
It had 49 issues, and that's down 2 from 51 issues in 2022. But there's some outdated equipment there that still gets dinged.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there are some things that are gonna appear on these reports every year,
The
because,
signage,
you know,
which
right,
is like,
yeah. And we
Every
actually
year.
replaced a lot of the signage and made
So
changes to
here's-
it.
Here's a couple of them. Top rail has chip paint, spot rusting through the unit. Paint is worn on the climber. Paint is worn on the metal climber. Chip paint on the top bar is bent or damaged. The paint is worn. So there's just, a lot of this is just doing some touch-up painting and getting it back to, just going through and fixing some of the issues. There's some more of the signage that we talk about every year too.
Right.
Yeah, it looks like adding more fill underneath will deal with many of these problems. The working of some of it, making, tripping hazards can be, those things probably need cutting, and I'm sure that can be addressed at the time that you're adding more fill. I am concerned about the swing swings being cracked and stuff like that. That's something, you know, we need to get a budget together to figure out. That's the kind of thing you don't want to have somebody, you know, and invariably some adult, probably me, will sit on it.
Well, it says priority 1 could be cause a permanent disability, loss of life or body part.
Well, I think number 1's we need to, that deal
Yeah,
with
I
right
mean,
away.
that's kind of scary.
And that is what Cody concentrates on as he moves.
The ones,
The ones.
yeah.
Yeah, and fortunately, I'm not seeing many ones at all, really. The only one is that gap, isn't that the only one that I would see?
No, I think there might be a couple.
In Henry Park, there's one in Henry Park, I'm not seeing any in Stephen Decatur.
No, I've just seen the one, and if that,
A lot of 4s and 3s in Stephen Decatur.
Yeah.
That's really
3, 3,
reassuring,
4,
to see all
4,
those.
4, 3,
yeah.
3, 4, 4s.
Okay, and there's a 2 here, hex bolts, okay, on the swings could possibly create entanglement. And those are things that you're dealing with anyway, so. But the number 1, and you know, that could be corrected by placing some kind of a cover over that gap. It should be a simple, inexpensive way to deal with the, you know, you wouldn't want a kid to thrust their arm through there and break it, which is, if it's a child's toy, which it is, you know, those little arms, and which would probably leave my child if it was, because they're danger kids. So I'm glad that you're addressing these. I'm glad that we know what's down there.
And I apologize, I didn't, for mass production of the packet, I tried to save on the color ink.
Yeah.
So the pictures are a little difficult to see in the packet.
But the full color version is available
Online.
online.
Yeah, yeah.
You send that out,
Yeah.
that's what.
But
Yeah.
as we're going through it, I realize that some of the thumbnail pictures are.
No, I think that saving money is a good reason to.
Actually, that's the same. It's the same. That's duplicate.
Yeah, I mean,
So
there
I'm
are
not-
some items on here that have been on here every year and will continue to be. For instance, the spacing issue. It's more than a notion to increase a safety zone from 6 feet to 8 feet. So it's not like it's something where we can just
You know,
move the curbs and add additional mulch. There's more underneath than just that, so. But as you replace things, you do it right. That's the key. You do it up
And to the
to,
best of our ability.
up to
which will
current
be the
standards, correct.
boy, if we could get somebody to volunteer to do all this, deal with all this chipped paint, what would it take? A sander and the
Service
Krylon?
hours.
I don't know.
We had seasonal employees out there last year doing a number of things.
Well, then that will be wonderful
Yeah.
if we are able to have that happen again. Because those are, so many of these issues are dealing with chipping paint and rust, you know. So I'm glad that that's the worst of it. The most of it, I should say.
Oh. On page 4 and page 14 in the Henry Park, it's actually the same listing.
You know, I wondered about some of that as I was
I'm seeing-
glancing through here.
Because I was going through and there's only one in Henry Park. There's 2 2s, but then when you get back, they're actually the same listing. On 4 and 14,
Oh, yeah, they.
Yeah, you're right.
if you look, the 2 are the same listing.
Yes, it is. It's exactly the same.
then-
Oh my
Yeah, on the
gosh.
red and yellow unit.
All right.
So, yeah, as a matter of fact, I
We're
was
down
looking at the same
31.
thing.
And
On
then-
the- Yeah.
Right.
So, some of this we'll go back through and review it.
See if it's duplicated.
Yeah.
There's
And
a
then-
couple that are duplicated.
Oh, yeah,
Right.
the whole page is,
On page 18, there's another one that's, so there's actually, from what I see, Henry Park only has
Yeah.
1 1 and 2 2s
right.
of the 1 to 5 scale. And I didn't see any in Stephen Decatur, I didn't see any ones
Ones.
in Stephen Decatur.
Oh,
And I think
page
Stephen Decatur only had
14 is a good-
2 twos.
Mhm.
So a lot of them are 3s and 4s. And we'll,
Page 15 is a duplicate.
so,
Yeah, that's good to know that there's fewer than we thought. But it's it does seem, yeah, the bolt ends less than 2 threads, rounded and smooth. So, you know, you can't just cut it off, you have to smooth it off too. I mean, yes, it's, nobody wants to get a bad cut on them,
No, of course.
absolutely. So, that's just to
But we
know
don't
that.
have 32.
No.
We're in the 20s now.
Well,
Yeah.
I think that's wonderful, and thank you very much for keeping up on that, and, you know, keeping it in front of mind, because,
One thing to keep in mind too, and I'm not in any way, shape, or form minimizing or whatever, but a lot of times it's just like the instructions on your shampoo bottle. Some person did something silly at one point, so companies then had to build things in to try to reduce their liability. So some of the issues that they made, you know, like, I don't know, chipping paint on very, very top of a unit that a child can't possibly climb to, but at somewhere, some child climbed to that height and got injured. So they have to, you know, they have to err on the side of caution, obviously, as do we. So it's, sometimes it seems to defy common sense, but you can almost guarantee that somebody somewhere got hurt in a similar manner, and so they're being, it's an abundance of caution.
Right.
Any questions with the report?
Thank you. It's a lot.
One thing that is not on the agenda that I did want to ask and add is we did have quite a number of events in the month of April. We had the spring celebration, the backyard buffer giveaway, of course, cleanup day last weekend. I think the biggest thing that we took away from the spring celebration was we ordered, I believe, 75 kits, and we sold out in 20 minutes. We're not sold out, I'm sorry, we gave them away in 20 minutes.
Yeah.
So I think next year, we'll order at
I think
least
a
double.
big difference was that we were pretty much just giving them out
That helped,
instead of the
yeah.
kids standing there and doing them. I think that, and so that's something you
Yeah.
might want to think about. Do
Half
you
of
want
when
to
they-
continue
when
doing
they-
it that way, or encourage them to stand there and do the kit?
And half of them, when they made them there, they ended up getting damaged before they left.
Right, and that's, we've seen
Yeah.
that in the past too.
So now this way they can go home.
Yeah, but it's something to think about for National Night Out as well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you just want to
Right.
hand
Yes.
them to the kids and they move on, or have them do them there, or give them the option,
Because
obviously.
there's a lot of distraction there to get them to stand still and do it.
Yes,
And this way, when they're bored at home one day, they've got it.
yeah,
And
exactly.
parents seem to be saying, oh, that's great.
Yeah, the parents, you're
They
right,
were very
Yes.
pleased,
they
yeah.
got a very good reception to take something home, and, yeah.
good, we'll have something to do later today when everyone's cranky and wants more candy. So that's good. I think we had a great turnout. I just wanted to give a shout out to the, the horticultural committee who brought so many people down, and the Girl Scouts who came. I guess it's a brownie troop that came, and they did a lot of help with that. Was it Sue who came and worked on that rain garden with us?
Oh, yes.
It just really, it was rewarding to see, and just so many people who, I didn't even get everybody's name who was there. I'm sure somebody got the list of names, but it was nice to see everybody come out. And I think the park is looking real chipper.
Yeah, that was well needed in the rain garden. That
Oh,
it
really
really
came out
was.
good.
It
Yeah,
was.
You just didn't realize how much it overgrown until you got into it.
Well, every time I walked through it, I knew it was,
Yeah. Just got- It's been how many years since we put it
Oh,
out?
a lot.
Yeah.
Oh, it's been more than that, I think, yeah.
Long enough, the sign needs to be replaced.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is something
Are
new.
signs on the list for?
It's something Jimmy and I talked about recently, and there, yes, the rule signs need to be redone and replaced. And actually, surprisingly, Cody and I actually talked about it day of, the signs around the pond are in good shape, but they're they're too close to the water. They need to be moved back.
It's the flatter ones that
yes,
have
yes,
taken the
so-
wear and tear.
The signs are on the list of
Improved.
some things to
It
do,
was something
yeah.
I keep thinking about and never bring them.
But I think the whole town is looking good, the planter boxes that they put.
Yeah, everything
looks
looks
so
really
good.
great.
In the spirit of looking ahead to next year,
Mhm.
and this is because I always go to Henry Park, I think it says volumes if we have something at every park to improve it. And I think that's really
Yeah,
important.
yeah, that
There were
was-
no
So like have
flowers,
a
there were-
project
there
to
was
do,
no- Yes.
and
So
yeah,
we had 9 or 10 volunteers there, which was great. And every bit of trash was picked up. It
Oh, there were
was
no
good for
plants
trash.
for you to put in?
There were no
I'm so
plants.
sorry to hear that.
there was some, we were approaching things a little differently this year because we were incorporating the horticulture committee. And so I think that there were some
Well, that's why I
bumps
bring
that
it
need
up,
to
so
be.
Thank you for
yeah.
bringing
for
it.
next
Yes.
year, because you never want any one park to feel left out.
Exactly, you don't want volunteers showing up with nothing to do. And of course, Public Works does such a good job of keeping the parks clean
They do,
these
Yes,
days.
they really do.
That they don't leave much for the volunteers to do. But yeah, we're gonna regroup, and work on
Sure,
that for next year.
absolutely.
You need to have maybe the meeting before that takes place, have a representative there,
Yes.
let them know what we need to.
Exactly,
Yeah.
So
exactly.
that was just an honest
Yeah.
error, I know,
Yeah.
but.
To have some kind of structure, so that,
Well,
Exactly.
we have some memorials over there that need some flowers to show them off. And, yeah, so, and they usually put in some annuals over there. I think they have some
Every year.
petunias and all
Yeah.
that, so marigolds and stuff.
well, but,
No, it's
Now
good
we-
to know,
now we
now we
know.
know.
yep.
Well, thank you.
You know how I am about Henry Park.
It's a great park, it's getting better all the time, and.
I actually thought that reducing the time frame this year from just 8:30 to 10:30,
Yeah.
I think that went really well.
That was,
People weren't looking at it feeling like they were committing to a longer stretch of time. It was a short period of time. Got a lot done. I think it worked well.
Good, yes, that was a good choice, thank you, Mary, for doing
I'm
that.
not sure that I came up
Well,
with
you
that
know what, you
time
printed
frame,
the
but-
paper up and put it out there, and it worked. I was glad when somebody said, day's over.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it would have just been, we would have just,
In the
Oh, yeah.
past, we worked until we fell out.
yeah, so it's good to know, and it's good for people to know we don't expect them to spend all day. So, good. Thank you.
Anything to add? Okay.
Well, Sarah and Patricia, it looks like we're counting on you for Saturday.
Yeah.
yeah,
Because the rest of us can't be
Well,
here.
of course, you're going to
Yeah,
be.
oh, yes, that's what I'm saying, I'm counting on you. No, what I meant was I'm counting on you to be there for Kate.
We will represent this Saturday at 8:15.
the health department does all the.
They do all the heavy
You
lifting.
know,
which is-
they have actually pulled back a little bit this
Really?
year, so, yeah.
But they're still gonna be doing blood pressure.
Yeah, I believe so, they're still gonna
And they'll
have.
have all their information that
And
they
as far
need.
as I know, the weather is still looking pretty good.
That would be nice.
Yeah, it looks
That would be
nice.
nice.
I just thought of something that's going back, and I usually never do that, I apologize. But when we were listing all the volunteer groups, Restore the Shore was.
Yes, yes.
And,
He's a
and,
litter picker up there.
yeah, it was wonderful.
Immensely
And we were
helpful.
talking, because he was set up at Henry Park,
Mhm.
and we were talking about like combined forces, more collaboration, just like with the horticulture.
Horticultural
Thank you very
committee.
much. But another resource, so that was neat to
Yeah,
get to.
absolutely.
Yeah, I heard really good things about,
Yeah.
really about everybody, but Restore the Shore in
And
particular.
I didn't
People
hear
talk about a lot of
anything
energy.
about a unique find in Hudson Branch.
They found a lot of bicycles apparently.
Okay. No,
There were like
What a shame.
five bicycles.
Well, I hope that somebody will take them and rehabilitate them and put
I don't know that
them
they
on the
were.
street.
Yes.
Okay. They were parts, they will be pop art.
That was kind of and some big pieces of metal, that sort of thing, so.
Very good.
No Buddhas this year.
Oh, well.
That was so fun.
That was, all right, my apologies. We're
That's okay.
back on track.
Okay.
Well,
So I guess full formality, Do we-
I move that we end the meeting.
Okay.
Second.
Thank you. Okay, so I guess the next meeting will be on July 11th. So we'll see you all Saturday, but the next formal meeting will be July 11th.
And then we'll be able to plan for the night out.
Right.
National Night Out.
July 11th.
Thank you all.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
I don't need this.